I want to start this video with this disclaimer. I'm not a physician. I'm not a medical practitioner. I'm not a medical professional. And the reason why I'm stating that is I'm going to get into some stuff here that borders on medical advice, but it's not medical advice. You shouldn't take my medical advice because I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical practitioner, and I'm not a medical professional. Okay, so basically what happened is about 2 weeks ago, I was diagnosed with asthma in the emergency room. Of course, asthma at the age of 36 is unlikely, although I have been developing allergies. That's basically what happened. I was given albuterol, told to leave. Later, I go for at least an hour walk every morning. I went for my hour walk. I felt like crap, took my blood oxygen. My oxygen level was only 88, and my heart rate was only 56 beats per minute. Went to the hospital again, was diagnosed with nothing. I received chest x-rays both times. So I went to my family practitioner, or general practitioner, whatever you want to call it. And she determined that, well, she didn't determine much of anything. They gave me a test that's supposed to tell the difference between COPD and asthma. And basically she came back, said, here's an inhaler, take it for a month, you could have COPD, you could have asthma. If there's no change, we're going to get a CAT scan of your chest and see if you have any fibrosis. Now, for those that don't know what pulmonary fibrosis is a fatal chronic lung disease where the lungs are replaced by scar tissue until there's no more lung left and you croak, basically. So this is where the stuff that's almost medical advice, but not medical advice because I'm not a doctor, comes in. And people go, oh, well, you're a vegan, that's why you might have pulmonary fibrosis. Mind you, I'm not diagnosed with pulmonary fibrosis yet. They don't know what it is. I have to go to a pulmonologist and find out on Tuesday. So there's a couple natural substances which are senolytics. Apparently fibrosis is basically what's called senescence. Senescence is when cells get too old to work. They basically get too old and they just hang around. They don't really do anything but send negative chemical signals to the surrounding cells, and it causes problems in the cells. And it causes things like fibrosis. So the two senolytic substances that I'll be using, which I started using actually, are quercetin and serrapeptase. Now, quercetin is a flavonoid that comes from the skins of apples, and it comes from onions. It's in various fruits and vegetables, but you can't get a whole bunch of it from the fruits and vegetables. Not a senolytic amount. Well, not the amount you can get from supplements. So I'm taking quercetin, and also I just ordered serrapeptase. Serrapeptase is an enzyme that comes from the digestive tract of silkworms, and that's shown to actually reverse the scarification in people, and the quercetin is also showed to reverse the scarification in people and bring back function to people that have this disease. Now, I'm not debilitated by this yet. I still walk for an hour or more a day and things of that nature, which is why I do not believe that it necessarily is pulmonary fibrosis, but it's better to be safe than sorry, which is why I went to the pulmonologist. Now, I'm going to leave links in the description to this research on pulmonary fibrosis, but what I also want to point out is this. This is again an issue with how psychiatry. Oh, and I also want to point this out in case the dude from Argentina that won't stop bothering me is listening. Why might I have pulmonary fibrosis? Because I was in contact with caustic chemicals because I used to work, senor. I used to work very hard. I would work quite a bit. So that is the truth. I work very hard, senor. Okay? So the point is this. People that actually know what I'm talking about will get that. So the point is this. As a person that has been blown off by my general practitioners as being nuts for years, the reason I switched practitioners to this chick, her name's Dr. Lopez, the reason I switched to her was because my previous doctor was telling me to ignore chest pain, ignore this, ignore that. Now, you can't make up symptoms, and that's what I had. That's why I was medicated for tachycardia, which I do have. However, the medication, which is a beta blocker, also it can affect you if you have asthma, and maybe I didn't know I had asthma, and the beta blocker made it worse. It also interferes with the function of the albuterol, so my inhaler doesn't work to the optimal. Also, if I ever needed to get shot up with adrenaline, I would need more adrenaline because I'm on a beta blocker. So what I'm getting at is this. This is how psychiatry has impeded my proper diagnosis, which has allowed health concerns to exasperate to the point where I am having low blood oxygen after walking for 15 minutes, and then my blood oxygen drops and my heart rate drops. This is because my family practitioners were so sure I had bipolar disorder and so sure that all my problems were psychiatric that I never received the proper tests to diagnose these things. And I'm not the only person. There's plenty of people this happens to. Like I stated, when I worked in mental health, there was more than one, but one gentleman that sticks out in my mind he had congestive heart failure, alcohol-induced congestive heart failure, and the psychiatrist flat out told him, oh no, it's just panic attacks. Without a physical, without anything like that, didn't tell him to follow up with his general practitioner, didn't tell him to follow up with a cardiologist or nothing like that. So that's where I want to get with that. Now, I do want people to follow the descriptions on the serapeptase, the quercetin, and what senescence is, because fighting senescence is basically fighting aging and reversing the aging process through what are called senolytic substances. And it's very important that people understand that, because fighting aging is fighting all disease. Technically, most chronic diseases, if not all chronic diseases, are a form of senescence. They're basically all chronic diseases are diseases of aging. So if you cure aging, you cure diseases. And I would encourage people to go to mariakonovalenko.wordpress.com and also really begin to understand the importance of fighting aging.